Donald Trump declared early Saturday morning in a 1-hour speech that, quote, "We're going to run the country." But the Associated Press reporting later that day, there is no evidence that American troops have seized control or assumed the role of a ruling authority. Pete Hegseth, Trump's defense chief, appearing on Barry Weiss's CBS News. Pete Hegseth said the United States is in charge, but they will leave it up to Venezuelans to sort out their situation. According to the New York Times, Trump refused to say whether American soldiers will serve as an occupying force, but he told reporters he's not afraid of, quote, "putting boots on the ground." This is a picture from the Mar-a-Lago Situation Room as the attack unfolded. There's Trump, then you see Rubio, and there's our CIA director, John Ratcliffe, and there's Pete Hegseth, hunched over his laptop, frantically trying to get Jeffrey Goldberg from Atlantic Magazine into a Signal group chat that includes real-time updates on attack coordinates. According to the War Powers Act, a president can't send troops into a country unilaterally without permission from Congress. But after 60 days, in rare exceptions after 90 days, the president will need a war authorization from Congress. Otherwise, the troops must be removed. A president cannot veto Congress's failure to give him a war authorization since there's nothing to veto. So after 60 days, sometimes 90, you get an extra 30. That's what it's going to take to remove the troops. If the president doesn't have a war authorization, the troops must leave. Trump's White House and some Republicans in Congress said the airstrikes in the Caribbean and Eastern Pacific that started back in September, they say those airstrikes didn't need a war authorization since they didn't involve the deployment of troops, and at no time were American troops in any danger. But that interpretation of the War Powers Act is subject to debate. It's about war, not whether or not our soldiers are deployed or are in danger. So Hegseth is right when he told Barry Weiss's CBS News that Trump is a man of action. He kept saying that during his interview on Barry Weiss's CBS News, that Donald Trump is a man of action. But action doesn't mean you did something good. In June, Trump phoned in airstrikes over Iran, then declared victory, but Iran still won't let in the UN inspectors, and now there's talk of more airstrikes on Iran. In March, Trump declared victory over the Houthis in Yemen. He killed hundreds of civilians, but the Houthis are still firing missiles into Israel and the Red Sea. Yeah, he's a man of action. Trump then said he was authorized to invade Venezuela and Cuba thanks to the Donroe Doctrine, which claims America's right to intervene in any South American country that it sees fit. Trump bragged that no president has used the Donroe Doctrine the way he has. He said, quote, "We superseded the Donroe Doctrine by a lot, by a real lot." He knows good words. He added that they are starting to call it the Donroe Doctrine. By them, he means him calling it the Donroe Doctrine. Most of us are just calling it World War Trump. Because it's Trump and we have absolutely no idea what is fiction and what is a lie, we just have to listen to other people. Because sometimes fiction comes out of Donald Trump's mouth and sometimes it's a lie. For example, Trump claimed on Saturday that the vice president of Venezuela, Delcy Rodríguez, is now in charge. And he praised her, saying she has signaled a willingness to do what he wants. He says, we're going to get to make Venezuela great again, and she's on board. The vice president of Venezuela told reporters there is only one president in this country, and his name is Nicolás Maduro. No, she's not cooperating with our lying president. Rodríguez, early after Saturday's invasion, demanded proof that Maduro and his wife were still alive. Maduro's wife was apprehended along with her husband, and she also faces charges of narco-terrorism, conspiracy to engage in narco-terrorism. And that's tricky. When husbands and wives conspire to commit acts of narco-terrorism, it's been known to put a strain on the relationship. What happens often is the couples no longer recognize where the line is between husband and wife and co-conspirators in narco-terrorism. That's why you have to turn off the phone, put away all the electronic devices, and connect with each other emotionally. I call it mutual self-care. It never stops. That's how authoritarians work their magic. It's a blitzkrieg of never-ending news cycles designed to confuse and wear you down. As I always say, don't pay attention to anything Trump says. Pay attention to what he does. And don't listen to what he says about what he does. Pay attention to what reliable sources say he has done. And Trump did something. So here is the latest on absolute resolve, Donald Trump's land invasion of Venezuela. The entire operation reportedly took under 2.5 hours. No American service members were killed. One U.S. aircraft was reportedly hit, an attack helicopter, but it was able to fly out of danger. 150 aircraft flying out of 20 U.S. air bases in the Western Hemisphere attacked 4 Venezuelan states, the states of Caracas, Miranda, La Guera, and Aragua. Power outages were reported throughout the country as the pre-dawn raid began. The U.S. military targeted two air bases, one Fuerte Tiuna and the other one La Carlota. And then they captured the president of Venezuela, Nicolás Maduro, and his wife Celia as they attempted to run into their presidential palace's safe room at 1:01 a.m. Eastern. The United States military's extraction force dropped from helicopters to meet with other soldiers already on the ground. They broke into the palace to grab the couple. It was an operation the military reportedly practiced for at least 3 months. Maduro was flown immediately to the USS Iwo Jima, where he was photographed. I believe they have photographs of him in handcuffs, although that may be AI. And Donald Trump declared, "We are going to run Venezuela." Maduro was flown to Gitmo in Cuba and then on to New York City, where he and 3 others, including his wife, were charged with trafficking thousands of tons of cocaine into the United States. Other charges include conspiracy to engage in narco-terrorism and possession of a machine gun. DEA agents made a public display of Maduro being perp-walked through the DEA headquarters in Manhattan. Maduro greeted reporters by saying good night and Happy New Year. He is currently being held in the Metropolitan Detention Center in Brooklyn, New York. That's where Diddy and Ghislaine Maxwell were also held.